Ferrari doesn't sell cars. It sells status. Ferrari has never been about horsepower or top speed. It's about, what does the car say when it stopped? Well, while many people believe that luxury is noise, Ferrari has built power in silence. Those who understand this realize that you're not buying metal. You're buying belonging to a circle that doesn't ask permission to exist. Observe how the brand communicates. It rarely shouts prices, doesn't beg for attention, and never seems to be in a hurry. This is not by chance. It's a refined strategy. When something is truly valuable, it doesn't need justification. It's the same principle as someone entering a room and changing the atmosphere without saying a word. Ferrari understood this early on. Status isn't something you announce, it's something you perceive. Here's a simple example. Two people with the same amount of money enter a regular store. Both leave with shopping bags. But at Ferrari, only one leaves with a car, and it's not necessarily the richer one. This initial shock is confusing, unsettling, and sparks curiosity. And that's precisely where the game starts to get interesting. Because from this point on, money ceases to be the main factor, and another criterion begins to weigh much more heavily. Extreme exclusivity. Why having money isn't enough. Having money opens doors, but does not guarantee an invitation. In the Ferrari universe, bank balance is just the entrance ticket to the anteroom. From there on, other rules come into play. It's uncomfortable to admit this, I know, but it's precisely this discomfort that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ferrari understood that true exclusivity begins where money loses its power. Look, traditional brands fight for volume. Ferrari does the opposite. It limits, restricts, and selects. It's like a closed club that observes before shaking hands. Anyone can buy an expensive suit, but few know how to wear it without looking like they're in costume. Similarly, not every millionaire knows how to uphold the symbol that Ferrari carries. There are cases where someone arrives in a hurry, demanding, treating the car as just another item in the garage. And then, that's it. The warning light comes on. The brand prefers those who understand the value of waiting, of the process, of respecting the history. Curious, isn't it? The more someone tries to buy authority, the more distant it becomes. And it is precisely at this point that the silent question arises that leads to the next step in this almost invisible ritual. The secret selection process. Here the game changes level. Ferrari doesn't announce clear rules, nor does it publish manuals on how to be accepted. Everything happens behind the scenes, in discreet conversations, subtle observations, and records that go far beyond a social security number or bank statement. It's a silent, yet relentless filter. Compare this process to an interview you don't even know you're having. Every interaction counts. How the person treats the salesperson, their patience in listening to the brand's story, their genuine interest, or lack thereof. Just like with great opportunities in life, it's not the rehearsed speech that matters, but the spontaneous behavior. Ferrari notices who you are when you're not trying to impress. There are reports of clients who spent months, sometimes years, being analyzed without realizing it. Previous purchases, public stance, relationship with other luxury brands. Everything is taken into account. Does it seem like an exaggeration? Perhaps, but it is precisely this level of care that keeps the symbol intact. And when someone finally understands this, they realize that the next stage is not about waiting for a car. It's about being called. Restricted lists, hidden invitations, and the silent ritual. Silence is part of the test. There are no flashy advertisements nor visible cues like at typical launches. There are lists, but not the kind you subscribe to. They are internal lists, almost invisible, fueled by observation, time, and behavior. Those who ask too many questions have usually already shown that they don't understand the game. The curious thing is that the invitation rarely arrives as an explicit one. Sometimes it comes as a casual call, a loose comment from the dealership, a casual maybe. It's similar to those rare opportunities in life that arise when you're no longer desperate for them. Ferrari calls to those who know how to wait without begging. And that says a lot about the profile she's looking for. Some people mistake this ritual for arrogance, but it's actually symbolic control. By transforming the purchase into an almost ceremonial process, the brand filters out anxiety, inflated ego, and impulsiveness. And when someone finally realizes they've been chosen, they understand that the car is just the surface. Because from then on, new rules begin to emerge, observing something even more delicate: the future owner's ongoing behavior. Internal rules. Behavior matters more than money. Watch out for Ferrari. Who are you after the purchase? And not just before. Many people believe that once they get the car, the game is over. Big mistake. For the brand, the real test begins when the keys are in your hand. That's when it's revealed whether the buyer understands that they are not the absolute owner, but the guardian of a symbol. Simple actions speak volumes. Excessive ostentation, disrespectful use of the brand image, tasteless modifications, or hasty resale attempts raise silent red flags. I compare this to receiving a rare work of art. You can hang it on the wall, but nobody expects you to scribble on it. With Ferrari, freedom exists, but within non-negotiable limits. There are cases where the brand simply cuts off the relationship. Invitations disappear, future offers cease to exist, and access to special models is blocked without explanation. It seems harsh, but it's consistent with the philosophy. Those who understand this realize that it's not about control, but about consistency with values. And it is precisely this criterion that explains why, in some cases, not even billionaires can advance to the next level. Rejected millionaires, when not even fortune opens the door. Try millionaires have already been rejected by Ferrari, and there were quite a few of them. People with enough money to buy the entire factory if they wanted. But the point was never purchasing power. It was posture. It was attitude. It was the kind of relationship that person wanted to have with the brand. And that weighs more than any check. There are stories of business people who tried to skip steps, use influence, pressure salespeople, or treat the car as an ego trophy. The result? Closed doors. There's a simple analogy: money buys entry, but it doesn't buy respect. Just like in very exclusive circles, those who try to force their way in demonstrate exactly why they shouldn't be there. The most curious thing is that these refusals are rarely direct. There is no official no, only silence, postponements, invitations that never arrive. This generates frustration, of course, but it also reveals something profound. Ferrari would rather lose money than lose its identity. And when someone understands this principle, they begin to realize why even famous figures need to undergo an even more rigorous test. Celebrities also need to prove loyalty. Fame doesn't accelerate the process. On the contrary, celebrities are observed with even more caution, precisely because their image directly reflects on the brand. A single inappropriate behavior can associate Ferrari with something it doesn't control, and that, for them, is unacceptable. There is a simple everyday example. When someone very visible enters a sophisticated environment, everyone starts observing not only the person, but also the place that has welcomed them. That's why actors, athletes, and influencers need to demonstrate something beyond money and notoriety. They need to demonstrate alignment, respect for history, discretion, and above all, consistency of behavior over time. There are cases of celebrities who bought entry-level models, attended events, and built relationships with the brand for years before even being considered for limited editions. No shortcuts, no exceptions. This reinforces a powerful lesson. When a brand has clear values, Not even the glare of the spotlight distorts its rules. And it is precisely this rigidity that opens up space for something even more exclusive. Cars that almost no one in the world can afford. Exclusive models. Cars that only exist for a select few. Ferrari is ceasing to be a car manufacturer and is beginning to act as a curator. Some models are simply, they are not for sale, at least not in the traditional sense. They exist, they are produced, but they only reach those whom the brand decides to invite. There is no storefront, no advertisement, no "how much does it cost?" There is only an invitation, or silence. They are like rare works that never reach public auctions. It's not about paying more, it's about being on the right list. Models such as limited editions, special series, or bespoke projects emerge as rewards for those who have demonstrated, over time, total alignment with the brand's values. These cars don't choose owners. They choose compatible stories. And here's a fascinating detail. Many of these clients don't even ask the price before accepting. Not out of arrogance, but out of understanding the context. They know that the car represents mutual trust. When someone understands this level of exclusivity, they realize that the true privilege isn't driving something rare. It's being remembered when something rare is born. And, interestingly, this leads to even greater control over what happens after delivery. Obsessive control over use, sale, and image. When buying a Ferrari, a person doesn't acquire total freedom. They enter into a silent agreement. The brand observes how the car is used, displayed, photographed, and even sold. It may seem like an exaggeration, but it makes perfect sense when you understand that every Ferrari on the street is a living extension of the brand's identity. There are restrictions that few people openly discuss. Reselling too quickly, modifying aggressively, or associating the car with contexts that devalue its image can close future doors. I can compare this to receiving a powerful surname. It opens doors, but it also demands responsibility. Those who use it without discretion end up paying an invisible but high price. There are cases where Ferrari simply vetoes future purchases from those who broke the pact. No official notification, just the disappearance of invitations. This reinforces a somewhat unobvious logic. The car may be yours, but the symbol will always belong to them. And it is precisely this rigorous control that sustains a curious paradox. Denying access, limiting choices, and frequently saying no has made Ferrari even more desirable worldwide. The paradox: denying sales made Ferrari even more desirable. That is one of the greatest psychological tricks in the luxury market. The more Ferrari says no, the more people want to hear yes. In a world where everything is for sale all the time, refusal becomes a symbol of power. The brand understood something that few apply with courage. Desire is born from scarcity, but it is sustained by consistency. When something is available to everyone, it loses its magic. When it's rare, hand-picked, and rigorously protected, it gains an aura. Ferrari doesn't compete for attention. It makes the market compete for it. This inverts the traditional logic of sales and creates a magnetic effect that's difficult to replicate. By rejecting immediate deals, the brand built something bigger than quick profits. It built a myth. And myths don't need to convince anyone. They simply exist. Those who observe this carefully begin to realize that this strategy isn't just about cars, but about positioning in life, in business, and even in personal relationships. And it is precisely this deeper reflection that prepares the ground to understand everything from the beginning, with a fresh perspective. Now, let me tease you with an honest question. In how many areas of your life are you still trying to be accepted, instead of taking a stand? Ferrari doesn't just teach about cars. It reveals a powerful principle. Value isn't begged for, it's built. When you understand this, you start acting differently. You choose better where you step, who you associate with, what you accept, and, most importantly, what you refuse. Think about it. What if you applied this logic to your work, your business, your relationships? Instead of chasing approval, you would invest in consistency, preparation, and identity. Just as Ferrari observes behavior, so does the world. The right opportunities appear when you stop trying to impress everyone and start respecting your own journey. So here's the invitation. What do you need to adjust today to become someone who doesn't need to ask permission to be in the right places? Comment below what caught your attention most in this video and which principle you'll apply first. And if this content opened your mind in any way, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stick with us. Because here the conversation always goes beyond the obvious.